Again, hi, hello.
We'll go through all this one more time. Welcome to Trail Talk.
You just thought our mouths were moving earlier.
Yeah, for real. So we're really glad you guys could join us this afternoon because we're coming to you live
From Duncan.
and
at
the Chisholm Trail Heritage Center. We're in our classroom studio and it's a mighty good classroom today.
We blew on in.
Yeah, blew on in is right. We're going to talk about famous women from Oklahoma, and this is volume 2.
That's right.
Volume 2, because about a year ago, March Women's History Month, I'm pretty sure that was the month we did. We did a really cool interview, Jessica Garvin.
I remember
one
it
of the,
vividly.
yeah, the
I
state
believe it was a year
senators.
ago.
Yeah, she's one of the state senators from this area. She was a guest by Zoom, and we talked about some amazing women. We talked about the 5 Native American ballerinas.
Mhm.
We talked about Clara Looper and Ada Lois Sipple Fisher, and we talked about Pearl Carter Scott. So it was a really packed lesson. So many amazing women. I'm really a little bit embarrassed that we waited a whole
Well,
year.
we gave
to
you
do
guys
it again.
time to, catch up because that
Yeah.
was a lot of
It
information.
was a ton of information. So we're going to talk about 4 other women who are they weren't all born in Oklahoma, but we claim them as
We have those
Oklahomans.
people, that,
Exactly.
like, I wasn't born in Oklahoma either, but I've lived here so long. This is my home state.
our home
I'm
state.
an Oklahoman.
There you go. Okie by adoption.
There you go.
So let's just go ahead and jump in here. Wilma Mankiller. So Wilma Mankiller, we teach a little bit about her when we're talking about Oklahoma history heroes. She really is just an amazing woman. She was born in 1945. Well, you can see. Unfortunately, all of the women we're talking about today have passed.
I was gonna say this, she hasn't been gone that long, but my goodness, we are in
Yeah.
2022, so
Yeah.
yeah, that's been a bit.
It has been a while. So she was born in Tahlequah. She was the 6th of 11 children. She came from a really large family. Her father, who was full-blood Cherokee, and her mom was Dutch and Irish ancestry.
Mhm.
And so she was the first female principal chief of the Cherokee Nation. And so first of all, she was deputy chief, and when the chief, his name was Ross Swimmer, resigned to take a role with the Bureau of Indian Affairs, she moved into that spot, and then she was elected and that happened in 1985. So then she was actually elected into that position in 1987, and then again in 1991 by a landslide.
Yeah, and she did so many things
Oh
during
my
that time.
goodness, you talk about a woman on a mission.
Like,
Yeah,
I don't know how she got so many things done, even in those 2 terms.
I know.
The list just went on and on.
Yeah. So she served as principal chief until 95. So essentially it was a 10-year time in office. So she, there were approximately 140,000 enrolled members. Now, if you're watching, although most people from Oklahoma are aware of this, because of our Native American heritage in our state. But in order to be considered a part of one of the tribes and to, for sure, to receive any of the benefits of being a member of one of the tribes, you have to be enrolled or on their rolls.
You get like a card, I think, don't you?
Yeah. And so that when it says 140,000 enrolled members, she was from the Cherokee tribe, and there are almost, it's kind of a joke. I have friends who are Native American, and if they say that someone says, well, I'm part Cherokee, it's like, that's kind of their go-to thing. Now, and maybe they are, but that's kind of a thing that people say. So 140,000 enrolled members, and she had a $75 million budget. Yeah, now this was in the nineties, so I don't know how that like,
Correlates to
yeah,
today's money.
compares and
But
everything.
still, 75 million, that's quite a, that's.
Yeah, so she did things like increase tribal membership.
Mhm.
So she probably did that.
200%.
Yeah, by helping people who were not on the rolls become enrolled
Access to
members.
be able to do that. Because you can't just go and say, hey, yeah, that has to be proven. There has to be lineage
Yes,
proven, correct?
yes. And so she probably found a way to help people do
Get
that.
access to do that.
And then she also,
She opened 3 healthcare centers.
yeah, she, so basically tripled her tribe's enrollment and doubled employment among the people of the Cherokee.
So she helped
tribe.
them and helped
Yeah,
to get them
yeah.
employment.
3 health centers, Head Start,
Mhm.
a drug abuse, a prevention of drug abuse center.
Founding director of the Cherokee Nation Community Development Department.
Yeah, she established an Office of Tribal Justice in the U.S. Department of Justice. So it wasn't just a thing that was out there,
Wasn't just
a
an
separate
Oklahoma,
entity.
right.
It was part of the Department DOJ. And also found women empowering women for Indian nations. So, she didn't see herself as I'm only going to be here for the Cherokee people. I believe that she saw herself as a woman.
Cherokee.
She was a Native American. She was indigenous,
Mhm.
and she wanted to help all women
Mhm.
who have that I don't want to say claim. But
Ethnicity or
ethnicity,
bloodline
yeah. And so she really worked for all women of Native American heritage. So there were several things that motivated her to get involved, like she did.
Mhm.
And one of them was there was this federal program that attempted to urbanize Indians and help them find work. And so her family moved to San Francisco in 1957. And the American Indian Movement protest mounted at Alcatraz
in 69.
in 69. And her volunteer work among American Indians in California during the 70s, that was the catalyst. That was the thing
Kind of
where she said, this is
yeah.
me. This is what I'm going to do with my
This is
life.
my jam. This is what I'm
Right,
into.
right. Also, just as a side note,
I thought this was
Yeah.
funny.
her family debated politics
Yeah.
around the dinner table.
Like, how was your day? How was your day? Okay, let's jump into it.
Right, yeah. But I mean, by doing those things, you have 11 children. And by talking about current events, the news, the politics, you are making your children aware that there is a whole world outside of your family.
And not just that, but letting them know, hey, I can have my opinion,
True.
Hopefully that was the case.
True.
I can have my own opinion, just
Uh-huh.
because I don't maybe think like my brother, sister, dad, mom. It's okay.
And we
So
can
they're-
talk,
yeah.
we can talk about it
Yeah.
and it doesn't alter our
Right,
relationship.
exactly.
A lot of good can come from something like that. So she met her first husband in California, and she had 2 daughters, Felicia and Gina. And then she was divorced in 1974, and that's when she came back to Oklahoma, moved to Eastern Oklahoma to a place called
Bell.
Bell. And there was land that belonged to her grandfather out there called like Mankiller Flats or something like that. And wouldn't you like to
I was gonna
know
say,
the
I-
heritage of that name?
Well, wouldn't you like to say, so where'd y'all go for your first date? We went to Mankiller Flats and
Yeah.
you survived.
Yeah, right. I would really like to know the heritage of that
Mhm.
name and how her grandfather got that, or maybe it was his grandfather. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know how far back that goes, but that's kind of a cool thing about having that kind of identifiable lineage in your life, is being able to trace it back and really draw on those roots.
Mhm.
We were watching, I'm chasing a rabbit real quick, but we were watching a movie the other night about people of Latino heritage and being, they all lived in a city in the United States, but their heritage is what brought them together and gave them that common ground, and how they were able to have that pride in the Dominican Republic or Puerto Rico or Mexico or wherever it was they were from, their families were from.
Right.
And I was watching that thinking, I am such a mixed bag of, my family has so many different, that we have never like grabbed hold of one of those to where I trace it
And
back
trace
and,
it back.
and learn about that country and carry any of those traditions. And I just
Mhm.
thought that was a really, what a great, I don't know, just a thing to be able to hold that and pass that on to your kids.
Well, they have so many avenues to be able to do that now. Too,
Yeah.
like that ancestry.com and
Right.
all those things that
Mhm.
are available now that you can do that.
Yeah, and so anyway, I don't know, I just kind of, and so I feel like that's what Wilma Mankiller was able to do. And as some of the other women that we're talking about, that today, how they all had that, that heritage that they could hang on to.
Right.
Anyway, Wilma Mankiller, I mean, she did so many things in Oklahoma. She worked to improve rural community services, housing, healthcare, education, garnered a federal grant to revitalize that small community of Bell.
Mm-hmm.
Her college education, so her college education was like social work and community planning, which if you ever study people who are in politics and things, a lot of people have
that kind of.
Yeah, the community planning thing is kind of a real critical component of that, I think. And anyway, she married a man who was full-blood Cherokee from that little community of Bell.
Little Bell.
Yeah. Anyway,
Charles L. Soap.
yes, yeah. So anyway, she was awarded numerous
So many.
recognitions and honors.
Presidential Medal of Freedom in 98.
Yeah, inducted into the National Women's Hall of Fame in 93. She was also, let's see, what was that one? That was
her
a book.
autobiography.
Yeah, those were books that she wrote. We'll talk about those. She was inducted into the Oklahoma Women's Hall of Fame in 86, the Oklahoma Hall of Fame in 94. And she said, her quote, "If I am to be remembered, I want it to be because I am fortunate enough to have become my tribe's first female chief. But I also want to be remembered for emphasizing the fact that we have indigenous solutions to our problems." So she didn't just go in like create these new
Unnecessary.
and uncustomary kind of
Mhm.
solutions.
Just to fluff her own.
Yes, she
hat.
worked with the heritage and the culture of the Cherokee people.
And the needs that they did
And
have.
probably actually brought the people along with her, and they felt ownership of it then.
Mhm. I'm
And
sure they
you
did.
know, and it carries on today.
Mhm.
So anyway, she wrote a couple of books, Mankiller, A Chief and Her People, and Every Day is a Good Day, Reflections of Contemporary Indigenous Women. You can find both of those books online. There are books written about Wilma Mankiller that you can read. One is by a man named DJ Herda, who I have just been able to connect with. So you can look those books up online if you're interested. We don't have any books about Wilma Mankiller here. But cool, here's a quote. I thought this was a great quote. "If you argue with a fool, someone passing by will not be able to tell who is the fool and who is not." Wisdom, word,
Oh,
Wilma
that's funny.
Mankiller. I just loved that so much. But this is like just announced this year. I was so pleased to see this.
Doesn't just says in 2022. So
Yeah, so it's something, the American Women Quarters program. And so for the next 4 years, every year they're going to produce 5 quarters.
So in total, there'll be 20.
20
right?
total, and every year they're going to honor women who have left a significant mark in the history of the United States. And Oklahoma's own Wilma Mankiller is one of the first 5 to be recognized. And so I wanted to include a picture of the quarter because I just think that it
This
is,
will be the tail, I believe.
yeah, that's the back side of it. The front side is the George
It
Washington,
says it's to, yeah, the
the
George
typical
Washington.
quarter.
It says it's a men killer to resolute a gaze to the future.
Yeah, and she has a Cherokee shawl on, and this star represents the Cherokee
7-pointed star.
nation. And then it has the name of the Cherokee Nation written right here in their syllabary. The Cherokee syllabary just that was invented by Sequoia. Pretty little
Now, how
significant.
cool is
part.
that?
Exactly.
Out of 20 women that the United States decided to make quarters on, and not even second, third round.
Right.
One of ours is.
First round,
First round.
Wilma Mankiller. I mean, just awesome.
And just the name alone.
And everything that we're sharing with you guys, I mean, it is a very brief overview of these significant women in their lives, but I love this about Wilma Mankiller. It makes me want to learn even more about her. And so anyway, start looking for these quarters. I
All right.
have a feeling they're going to be released anytime.
It's gonna be a hot object for
Yeah.
Christmas.
Yes, right?
Coin collectors out there.
Okay, so the next woman is Tayada Fisher. She was, let's see, she was born near Emmett, Oklahoma, and a member of the Chickasaw Nation. So I'm gonna take just a guess and say that the Chickasaw Nation was kind of this south central part of Oklahoma, and Emmett is probably in that part of Oklahoma. I'm visualizing a map of Oklahoma. Come along with me and visualize.
I picked
this.
up what it was because I've worked with her for so
Right.
long, but you guys.
Yeah, so I'm thinking it's probably in south central Oklahoma. I did not look that up. But she was born in 1895.
She's beautiful.
Yes, she is. And so I just, she was an actor, dramatist, storyteller, and I have a feeling that her beauty helped capture the attention as she,
Captivate us.
yes, as she shared the stories. So she went to Tishomingo. That's probably where Emmett was close to. Maybe Emmett didn't have a school
Right,
or because they were so
right.
small, such a small community. But she went to the Oklahoma College for Women, or USAO, as it's now known. And that's where she kind of figured out she had a natural talent for drama. And so she began her acting and storytelling career, but it went on for
60
for
years.
60 years.
Can you imagine?
This is a picture of her. Obviously, she's very young.
So
but
even if she started when she was like, say 18, graduated high school, 60, I mean, she's 78,
yeah,
well
Yeah.
into her 70s.
she lived to
you
be
know?
100.
Yeah,
So
she's just still kicking it.
exactly.
Mhm.
But she's worked as a storyteller to finance her acting career because starving, that
You always hear that, yeah.
But as a storyteller, she would dress in traditional Chickasaw regalia, and then she would tell the story, the Chickasaw stories,
The folklore and the
yeah, exactly.
generation past.
So we had an artist here. Oh, now I went blank on his name. From Apache. No, the one with the eyes in his.
Yeah, all the eyes were hidden.
Yeah. Toyntai, Jackie
Yes.
Toyntai. Thank you, Bailey, our go-to
Our
person.
off-camera.
Yeah. So Jackie Toyntai,
She's-
he told all, like, his paintings had stories that went
Right,
along with them. They
right.
were Comanche and
Right.
Kiowa stories. So hers were from the Chickasaw
Mhm.
people, stories that are passed down that explain things like why a certain animal is so important to their people,
Right.
or how
I
they
remember, like,
traveled from one place
Like
to the
the
next.
kid's story, like why a bear has a tail.
Yes,
You know, that's what I
exactly.
immediately thought of.
Yeah, and so she was renowned for sharing these stories. So it says legends, myths, and chants. So all of those would have a lot of significance. And one of the important things I think about having a storyteller like that is the ability to keep those stories alive and relative with each new generation.
Well, and two, no matter if it's a family member, if it's something you read, for her, it's all coming from her. So it's going to be
Right.
consistent every time she tells it versus she tells it to someone and you inadvertently, everyone, you may
Mhm.
miss a significant, something rather, or it may
Right.
be twisted or turned
Mhm.
inadvertently, not
Right,
on
not on
purpose,
purpose.
right?
Uh-huh.
But it's tweaked just a little bit, but with
Mhm.
her being that, consistent.
That's true. That's a really good point, Mary. So she went to the Carnegie Institute for 1 year, and then she ended up in New York City, and that's where she met and married Clyde Fisher. So during the 1930s, she performed at summer camps in New York and New England and all up in there. I mean, imagine bringing all of that history to life for people who probably weren't of Chickasaw descent,
Mhm.
but just performing those stories for them. And she performed in England and Scandinavia. She was at the White House for Franklin Roosevelt, and she performed for the King and Queen of England on stages across the United States. So it wasn't just summer camp
Right,
level.
and it wasn't just here in Oklahoma or
Right.
at Tishomingo or USAO.
Yeah,
Worldwide.
when I say renowned, she was very popular, very well known in this storyteller role. So she is best known for her interpretations of Indian folklore, but she also co-authored a book that she's famous for. She was inducted into the Oklahoma Hall of Fame in 1957. The Ladies' Home Journal Woman of the Year in 1976. I would love to see a copy of that
Oh,
story.
right. Yes.
And Oklahoma's official state treasurer in 1987. I thought that was a really sweet one. And then there's a lake. I saw a picture of her sitting
By that lake.
by the lake. It says Lake Tayada,
Oh,
and it's near Bear
cool would
Mountain
that be to be sitting
in New
in your-
York. Yeah, for
by your
real.
own lake.
So evidently there's a video about her life called God's Drum. I haven't seen it. I don't know much about it,
Okay.
but the proceeds help support a scholarship that she has at the University of Science and Arts, USAO in Chickasha, where she attended
cool.
school. Yeah, and she passed away when she was living in Oklahoma City. But yeah, Tayada, Oklahoma's state treasure.
And we do have a painting of her as well here.
Oh, that's right. That's right. We do. A Brunetta.
Mhm.
It's a Brunetta Griffith, isn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway,
Come check it out.
It's a
Smith?
Elaine Smith.
Elaine Smith, I'm sorry, I apologize. It was done by Elaine Smith.
I went
Yeah,
down
that's
there.
right. It's a really big one.
Yeah.
Uh-huh,
I know.
an Elaine Smith painting.
Okay.
Elaine Smith and Brunetta Griffith both did a lot of portraits of Native American
Right.
people that we have here. So I apologize for that misspoke, but we got it corrected. Okay, now we're going to talk about a gal named Lucille
She
Mulhall.
says, I got it.
You might have read some information about Lucille in our recognition of Women of the West during this month. But I thought it was worth going in for a little deeper dive with Lucille. So obviously you can see she has tied up this calf right here.
I'm saying she's got no fear.
And also, I mean, it's hard to see, maybe her leg was moving a little bit, these old pictures. She has a skirt that is split, it's divided into legs.
Oh, like those big palazzo pants?
Yes, this was something she came up with because she wanted to ride astride instead of side saddle. I mean, you can't very well compete in a rodeo if you're trying to ride side saddle.
No.
And so this was something that Lucille Mulhall was quick to figure out. So she was born in St. Louis, Missouri, but moved to Oklahoma when she was like 4 years old. Her dad, who was called Colonel Zach Mulhall, wanted his daughter to be a cowhand. And so by the age of 10, she was an expert. She could throw a rope, brand calves, and he said she threw steers so hard he was afraid they wouldn't get back up.
Well, this part is what, cracks me up is where the legend about her and Roosevelt
Yeah.
says
So
that he told her if he could rope a wolf, that he would invite her to the inaugural parade.
mhm,
Well, you know what? 3 hours later, she came back dragging the dead wolf behind her.
yeah. Don't issue a challenge to Lucille if you don't want it to be met. You better back up those words,
Better have
President.
whatever it is ready for her.
President Roosevelt, that's right. So when she was 13, her dad started a Wild West show that included Will Rogers, Ellison Carroll, and Tom Mix. And all five of the Mulhall kids rode in the entry. And after 1900, she and her brother were featured performers. And for 15 years, American and European audiences watched their rodeo performances, because she didn't just perform for the Mulhall Wild West show, also the 101 Ranch Wild West show that had Bill Pickett and his brother Ben and Buffalo Bill Cody, and I can't even think of all the famous by name rodeo performing cowboys. You know, the ones who could do the tricks.
Yeah, I was gonna say the tricks to it.
And the thing that Bailey put on our Facebook page, I'm pretty sure that was where it was. It talked about how she trained her horse to put on a man's coat. And I don't know, do all these really
Walk up and down stairs.
yeah, walk up and down stairs and do a whole thing. And so she was sold out. She was a cowgirl. Now the word cowgirl
Really
had
hadn't
been
come in-
around.
Yeah,
It had been around since she was born,
right.
but she became the epitome. She became if you open the dictionary and look it up, there's Lucille Mulhall's picture.
Standing like this saying, it's me.
Yeah, for real. So she is the one who made the word cowgirl mean kind of what it means now.
Right.
It's not just
It's not just you wear the clothes.
yeah. And Teddy Roosevelt, he
Yeah,
bestowed,
The Golden Girl of the West.
the Golden Girl of the West name on her. And she was the first woman to compete in roping and riding events against men. And she was the champion lady steer roper of the world. She had her own show, Lucille Mulhall's Roundup, traveling troupe of cowboys. She was married to a cowboy singer and they had one son. And then she married a man named Tom Burnett, whose dad was Burt Burnett. Does that sound familiar? Burt
I think
Burnett,
I know of a
Texas.
town called
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
yes.
He established the 4 Sixes Ranch in Texas. And she retired in the early 20s and then was tragically killed in a car accident in
After
1940.
all of those
accolades and
feats
accomplishments.
and, you know, probably things that women never even dared to do.
Yeah.
And then a car accident.
Yeah, a car accident took her life. But she was absolutely so popular, and she was not a large, big, buff woman. You know, she was small,
Right.
and she was ladylike, even though she still wore something that's,
She
you know,
didn't
was
spit,
similar.
spit tobacco and, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So she was inducted into the Rodeo Hall of Fame and National Cowgirl Hall of Fame in the 70s. And Will Rogers, who was a friend of hers for a long time, said she was the direct start of what has come to be known as the cowgirl. There's no such thing or no such word up to them. It's not a bad legacy to leave as the best horsewoman in America.
There you
So,
have it.
Now, I included this. This is a page from this children's book called The Original Cowgirl that is about Lucille Mulhall. And one summer, we did our education program was about cowgirls.
Cowgirls.
And we would read this book to the kids who came here. And it's a really colorful, fun book, lots of great pictures. And it tells all the things that she did and how she convinced her parents to let her become a rodeo cowgirl. I
It's like
know
his
that.
nose is flares in.
Yeah. So anyway, check it out. The Original Cowgirl, The Wild Adventures of Lucille Mulhall. Great little book. Okay, now I want to introduce you to Ataloa. This is her, I want to be sure that I give this her Chickasaw. She was also Chickasaw like Tayada. Her Chickasaw name, Mary Stone McClendon, was her given name. Anyway, she did a lot of amazing things, but
Beautiful as well.
yes, she was born in 1896 near the present town of Duncan, I did not, I had never heard of her until
No.
I was kind of researching these women. And the Oklahoma History website is so full of great.
Treasure trove of information.
Yes. Anyway, there she was. And her name means anthem or song, and it was given to her by her maternal grandmother. I think in visiting with other Native Americans, it's common in the post Oklahoma Indian Territory days, you know, to have an elder in your family give you your name, tribal kind of name. That seems to have happened a lot. Anyway, she claims she descended from a clan whose name I'm not going to try to pronounce because I think I might mess it up, but it means red skunk people. And her great grandfather was Sloan Love, a former district chief of the Chickasaw tribe. Anyway, she went to one-room schoolhouse. She went to Oklahoma College for Women in Chickasha, USAO. And she married Ralph McClendon in 1917. And then he enlisted and went off to Camp Presidio near San Francisco, and was became sick with the Spanish flu in 1918, and he died from that. So, you know, it's very interesting. My husband's, so his grandmother married as a young woman about that same time. The man she married joined the military, went off, and on his way back became infected and also died. And she was pregnant with Kevin's uncle. So this was not like a one time, this was a very common occurrence during that 1918 thing. When that Spanish flu was going around, it was a bad deal. I mean, people, you know, compared the COVID experience to that time. Anyway, so she ended up moving to California and got a bachelor's degree in philosophy. And then she went to Columbia. She started in Oklahoma. She went to California. Then she went across the nation to New York to Columbia University. And she earned a master's in religious education. And then she began performing American Indian songs, lecturing and storytelling in regalia as an interpreter of the culture. So let's see, she and Tayada.
What year was that?
Well, she was born in 1895 and died in 1995. So their careers, they overlapped each other. They were exactly the same time. And then she received a fellowship from the Rockefeller Foundation to pursue a doctoral degree. I mean, she was a very highly educated woman.
Yes.
And then in 1928, she began working with Bacone College. And it's in Muskogee, Oklahoma. Still today, it is a school where it's the primary population is Native Americans. It's very small school, but some of the artists who have been here on Trail Talk went to school at Bacone. I'm pretty sure Brent Learned was one of those who went to school there. But at any rate, she taught English. She worked as the field agent. She raised money. There was a new Indian art lodge and department that she had put in there. So fine art, and then fine arts became a functional part of Bacone's curriculum. And this paved the way for a new style of American Indian art that became known as the Baconian style. So I chased this rabbit a little bit, and I was looking at some of the art, and I thought, man, those look very familiar. That style looks very familiar to me. And at first I thought, is this Kiowa 6 style? But it's not. That is a little bit different style. So then I saw one of the artists who had gone to school there was named Jerome Tiger. And I went because I knew we had Jerome Tiger Works. And so here we go. this one is called Grandma. Yeah, Grandma, he's got it written there at the bottom. I love his signature with the little feather, probably a golden eagle feather there. Maybe not, maybe that's the Comanche bird, but anyway. And then we have this other one that's a little bit larger. And I forgot to get the name on this one, but another tiger work. And so this style is the Baconian style, and it started at Bacone College. Basically, initially under the efforts of Ataloa
Right.
McClendon.
So her
Yeah.
efforts are responsible then.
Yeah,
if you wanna
and
think
so
of it for
I
this.
feel like maybe these works by Jerome Tiger have come full circle.
Right.
That they are here in Duncan, where
Right.
she
Originated.
originated. Yeah, how cool is that? What a little treasure trove, huh?
Yeah.
How about that? So she, a lot of people consider her the pioneer in the commencement of American Indian art education. And not just at Bacone, she also was important at Idlewild School of Music and Arts in Idlewild, California, and the Institute of American Indian Arts in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And both of those places, in addition to Bacone, have, like, there are buildings or special places on campus, special things in her
Designated,
honor,
yes.
remembering her, what she did. Now, in the 40s, she became involved in humanitarian activities, like during World War II. She worked with the Relocation Authority, helping Japanese people
Mhm.
find a place to live. You know, there was a lot of tension about all
Right.
that. She offered educational programs at 2 camp locations, which honestly, she was probably teaching English.
Mhm.
She taught English at Bacone. She was probably teaching English,
imagine
what we
so.
call ESL,
Right,
English as a
second
second
language.
language. Now,
Mhm.
she was probably doing that, helping the Japanese people. Then she continued working in humanitarian programs, raising money to help Navajo people who were battling malnutrition and tuberculosis. That was such a terrible disease.
Mhm.
She was a consultant for the Bureau of Indian Affairs. She just did so many, her entire life was devoted to interpreting
Mhm.
and serving the Native American people and the Japanese. I mean, she
Yeah.
was, I guess, is the word altruistic? I think that maybe she was an altruistic person where she just devoted her life to
Gave,
helping
gave,
other
gave.
people. She has been recognized also here in Oklahoma for the things that she did. And there was a Camille Nixdorf Feeland made an Oklahoma history quilt and recognized her in that. She performed at the White House for President Franklin D. Roosevelt
as well.
also,
Mhm.
just like I think was it Tayada did that. Does it say when?
Yeah,
Or did it just
32
say that
is when
she
she
did?
did, and
I don't think it said, well, it doesn't say what year.
yeah. Mhm.
But anyway, she died in California in 1967. And East Central University in Ada even has a theater named for her honor. So all of these women, Oklahoman by birth or by us claiming them
That's
because
right.
they spent a good deal of their
There you
lives
have it.
here.
Either way.
Yeah. Great, amazing women. We just hit the tip of the iceberg. Please look more into their lives. I
Yeah.
think you'll find a lot of really great information about them and just realize the mark that they made on our great state. So anyway, join us tomorrow. Wallace Moore, who is
Talk
an
about
interpreter.
information.
Yeah, full of information, but we're going to try to kind of talk to him and find out why he does what he does.
Okay.
He's been here and performed numerous times.
Great, great individual.
But we're gonna find out the why tomorrow when he's here to talk to us. So please tune in.
3 o'clock.
Yeah, and until then,
Happy trails.